And hello again. Here we are. We're back on the home page, front page, and like I was getting at, I end up re-recording this, so if I have duplicate content, excuse me. But what I would like to do is show you how to edit a page and create a new post, and we're going to do that simultaneously with the Gutenberg, the WordPress 5.0 editor. And part of what I see as an issue with how this was laid out is that we have a bunch of this going on. This text align center, and then strong also means bold in formatting. All of this right now is in this one long chunk. It's really not the best way to do it, and especially not the best way for Google to understand it. It's better when we have, hello, here's a headline. Hello, this is a secondary headline. Now we have a paragraph. And then some other kind of little things in here I saw somewhere else. There was some other inline content that I thought looked a little like maybe could be run a little better. Not seeing that at the moment, but that's not an issue. Anyways, what we want to do though is in the little vertical ellipses here, we're going to go back to the visual editor. And here we are back in something that obviously looks a lot more familiar. But this is the same block style element that we're using on pages and posts. And again, this is the title of the page. And why somebody set this up so that our page title doesn't display, I really don't understand, but we can look at that later. It's not real critical. I figured out how to work around that to get our H1, which we definitely want to be using. So headlines come in H1 through 6. 1 is the top of the hierarchy, 6 is like a child element. And then what I'm going to do here now is we're going to go and rebuild this thing, this giant mono block of stuff, as individual chunks of readable, reusable code. And just for the sake of argument, I just want to see that this is how we had it formatted previously. It looks like all the text is centered, which is fine. This I could see maybe not having as a run-on and making this its own separate headline. So we're going to go and do that. Okay. Either plus add a new block or plus add a new block. These are like kind of like a undo and redo. I've got a question. Here's our info. It'll also show you, for example, content structure. This is telling us we have 0 headings, 0 paragraphs, and 1 block. Again, it's just not the most optimal way to format web content, rich web content. We're going to add a block. I believe you can just click that, and there's going to be our headline. But we're going to grab this, highlight that section, Command C is copy, and Command V is paste. Over here, we can give it our H1 headline, which is what we want. Looking at the site over here, everything's centered, so I'm just going to continue with that formatting. So we're in this block, it's highlighted, we've got our options up here, center, thank you. Okay, next block. We're going to get another headline, and I'm just going to grab this one out of, page keeps moving like that, Control C and Control V, and we're going to make that an H3 so it's smaller, and we'll give it a centered formatting. Go ahead and click out of the box, and we're going to add another block, which is just going to be a paragraph, and we're going to grab this. Once you click in the box, the page moves, which isn't really the best way to format this, but we're going to paste that in there. and go ahead and give that centered because that's what we were doing previously. All right, add another block. And this is going to be just that plain paragraph. Let me see if I can cruise through this real quick here. So Command copy that and paste that, and we're just formatting our text centered. That's fine. Add another block like so. Now we're going to do a heading, which was this one. What we offer. And to stick with the formatting from what we had previously, we're going to center it. Add another block, and we've got a paragraph. And just repeat. And grab all of this content from here. Come on. I'm on the clock. And I'm going to paste that. Center it. Another block, which is going to be a heading. Heading 3, which is what we're following through on our formatting. And that was what we offer, so we need the Y. This is only going to take another minute. We're going to paste that and center that. And then we're going to go with our third paragraph, which is the remainder of our content, which is this. Let's see, and paste that. We're going to give that center aligned, but it caught that we were making 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, so it gave us 1, 2, 3 blocks. It's pretty intuitive, which is great. And we're just going to center everything. I want to go, and now we're going to this block right here. Do we have an option to either move down, make sure we got everything? H1, 1, 2, 3 headlines, 3 paragraphs. H1, 1, 2, 3 headlines, and the rest of our content. I am going to take this block and we're going to remove this block. And now when we do info on our page, we have 341 words, we have 4 headings, 6 paragraphs, and 10 blocks. We've got a title, an H1, an H3, and is this not... Okay, I see what you're doing here. And then this is sort of like our little navigator, so we can like click between to see which items we have and where. Just for the sake of curiosity, I'm looking at the code editor. See this right here now, this is a comment in the code. Why this has our breaking space in there doesn't make sense really, and that's in what we offer. So let's go back and visual editor, what we offer. There's like someone's using a hard return space in here, which we don't need. Just one space is fine. 8.5 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on the time. Color settings. We have these now, whereas we didn't have these before in the one giant mono block of what was in the previous editor. So we can jump in here now. Oh, fine, be like that. Color settings, where were they? Oh, you can do it in a paragraph. Apparently they don't want you to do it with CSS class. We could give that universal, we'll say H3, we want it to be this certain color of blue. Apparently in paragraphs we can go ahead and drop in colors though. That's interesting. Anyways, I'm going to update this page and saving. Jump back over to our page and we're going to do a hard refresh on that. We're getting the same content, but you can see it's just cleaner code when we're over here. So we're in here And why group psychotherapy? We don't have this weird span in there telling it to change colors and things inside of here. It's all being run by our theme. So that is a way to make a lot cleaner and, in my opinion, definitely more semantically structured content. Google is going to love this kind of content as compared to being just one giant chunk of text. So this, I feel, is definitely the way to go. And then again, with these blocks, um, you've got a whole variety of blocks to use, elements. We could even drop in a widget if we wanted to put an entire post just in the middle of a page somehow. We could do it with that. We've got categories. We could have a list of categories inside of a page. And then in embeds, these are, we want to drop in an Instagram post or a tweet. We can do stuff like that too. So the block editor that from Gutenberg gets kind of a bad rap, but I think it's going to make more semantic and understandable content for your users. One thing I do want to look at, though, like I mentioned, is why the title of the page is not showing up on the page itself. It seems like that's a better way to structure your content too. So let's see what is up with that at a future date. But I included it in the email, and I'm sorry that this is running on and on and on, but we very, very critically need to make sure that we can get your hosting service to update your site to at least version 5.6 of PHP, if not up to 7, because that is the most current version, and getting WordPress updated to the most current version is going to require at least 5.6. It's a security issue. It's going to improve your site's speed. It's going to work better with all modern browsers and phones. It's got to happen. And I did a little research on what's happening over here with, let me show you. This is a page builder, which is kind of a child theme of its own, which is interesting. So when we get into maybe adding more content or doing something like if you want to add images or slideshow or videos or something else like that, some other kind of content, this may be a really handy tool to take the site up to the next level. And it looks like from just real quick, where is that thing? I've only got 2 minutes. Go, go, go. Yeah, in here. So in dynamic design, I think is where I saw it. Yeah. Um, we've got all kinds of different things that we can do to customize the site. So these are all of the different sorts of things that are running as far as like how the navigation is behaving or what we're working on in the footer. Basically our footer background color here. If we wanted to add an image to the background, it's got, borders, padding. Padding is the space between text and the edge of its container. There's a bunch of stuff with all these different options down here. Wrap, body. Body is how the fonts are going to behave for your main text. There's some really interesting things happening in here, and we can really ramp this thing up if you want to make it a lot more dynamic. I understand it's just a professional. We're delivering usable content to the users, but we could definitely ramp this up a notch if you're interested. Again, excuse me, I'm going to run out of time, blah, blah, blah. But with our plugins, we now have Yoast up to the current version. I would still like to make sure that we get the current version of PHP installed before we activate this and go through. It will be up here in this top bar once it's ready to go, but I'd like to see this get the current version of PHP happening before we activate Yoast and go through its settings I have 10 seconds left. So I hope this was informative, and I hope you enjoy working with me. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.